I love, love, love how Chapter 6 begins with the Piaget's observations of his three children. Piaget was so observant. If he hadn't been so curious about his three children, he may never have spent the rest of his life researching how our cognitive thoughts change throughout our early life. While his theory only goes to middle adolescence, because that is supposedly when we reach the pinnacle of our cognitive ability, according to Piaget, which is formal operations, I believe that we would not be so fascinated today by brain development had Piaget not brought this to our attention. Think about in the past when the children were thought of as little adults. We know from all of the theories that we've been looking at through this course that those theories have shaped the way that we view childhood and infancy. Today, they have so much technology that it can give us such an intricate picture, but Piaget definitely paved the way. The first stage of his theory is covered in the first few pages of this very long chapter. In my face-to-face class, I do this exercise that really helps students to understand assimilation and accommodation. If I'm able to scan the handout and post it to Blackboard, I'll do it as soon as possible. But in the meantime, I would like to provide some context for the first stage of cognitive development. Children are constantly taking in information. This information allows the brain to create schemes. For infants, these schemes are structures by simple actions that can be performed on objects, such as sucking, looking, and grasping. And that's taken directly from your text on page 175. As children take in this information, they are adapting to their previous experiences/information. Random acts become purposeful as they have more exposure to these schemes. As they acquire new information, they have to assimilate, which is the use of their current knowledge to deal with the new information or experience, and accommodate, adjusting their schemes to take the new information and experiences into account. This process goes on our entire lifetime. As we learn new information, we have to adapt what we already know and understand to fit with the new knowledge. Piaget said that this process involves disequilibrium. Being in this state is what keeps us seeking knowledge. Our job as infant caregivers, early childhood professionals, parents, or quite frankly anyone who works with children, is to create an environment that provokes children to wonder why and discover the world around them. Many of you spoke of technology in your Chapter 5 discussion board posts. This chapter will help you to connect even deeper the importance of early appropriate stimulation, and as many of you said, connection is the key. An infant wants to learn from other humans, not a screen in front of them that is programmed only to provide answers. Another theory that addresses how we learn is the behavioral approach, which includes classical conditioning, operant conditioning, and of course, modeling. Interesting ideas about how infants remember things. You can find the examples on page 180 under conditioning. The final section describes the nature of language and how it develops in infancy. I will be posting a TED Talk video that I hope you find interesting. It speaks to the latest research that is being done to determine where in the brain language stems from. They now know that there are many components of our brain where language is stimulated. This is an important breakthrough, and again proves the importance of talking to babies in their language development. Well, I hope you have an enjoyable weekend. Look for Chapter 7 module by Monday, November 11th. There's going to be a quiz that will be due by toward the end of the week, next week, on Chapters 5 through 7. And for those of you, and there's only a few, who haven't given me your preschool observation site, please do so as soon as possible.